This video is brought to you by Scout's Eyes. If you're a talented footballer and you want to get yourself in front of a scout, visit Scout's Eyes right now or click the link in the description.
If you want to know more, go, as Robbie said, hit the link in the description. But welcome back to AFTV, welcome to the Starting 11 show. Arsenal kick off against Brighton in about an hour and a half's time, been 30 minutes. We all know the Starting 11, these get more interesting by the game. Of course, Arteta shocked us all in midweek with the amount of changes made against Luton. We came through, a 2-0 win, and now Arsenal need to respond to City coming from behind to beat Palace 4-2 as well. I'm here with Laurie, I'm here with Nick, and I'm here with Turkish. Welcome back, everyone who kept an eye on the City game and got a little bit excited when Mateta scored in the 3rd minute. Anyone? Hands up who got a little bit excited?
I kept an eye on the game, but I didn't get excited because I knew
but
City would win.
I kept an eye on the game.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Was there a pen, by the way? I thought it was a pen on Eze.
Oh, at 2-1?
Yeah, 1-1, it would have been 2-1 Palace.
1-1?
If they just converted the penalty.
Yeah.
It looked like it could be given.
I think it's a pen.
Yeah.
I think the minute you put arms around, there's always a little bit of push to gain position or whatever. I think the minute arms come around, it's a pen.
Don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but to get those decisions against City, well, yeah.
Well, they weren't really giving them. And then Rodri, I think, got one. Was it Rodri or Haaland? I can't remember. Someone went down in the Manchester derby.
Yeah.
And there was a big fuss about that because everyone was like, look, yeah, it's a foul, but we're never seeing them given.
Yeah.
No, the whole City get one and then they get away with one. But
Yeah.
hey-ho,
There
we're
you go.
just here to focus on what
But
we
apparently
do.
City were a much better team anyway. weren't they?
Yeah, they probably will. We don't care about that, Laurie. We want to complain and make excuses and feel like everyone's against us. Laurie, how
Yes.
are we?
Good, man, good. Woke up early this morning, went to the gym, so I've got a nice little energy about me. I'm looking forward to this game, actually. I actually like 5:30 kickoffs, a bit more than Arsenal do. But
What do you mean by that?
because apparently our record 5:30 kickoffs is not great.
Oh, okay.
So according to the Premier League stats, but maybe somebody out there might know better than me. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to this game today. I'm
Good.
confident and yeah.
Nick,
Good.
welcome back. How are we feeling? Been a while since we've caught up.
Yeah.
Arsenal are doing their thing. 9 wins and a draw in 10. I think
Yep.
that draw's stomachable when it is the Etihad.
Yep.
Arsenal in 2024. I think I read have only conceded 4 goals or something ridiculous in the league. Like
Yep.
our form is tremendous.
Yeah, stomachable for us here. You know, I saw you on the Twitter timeline celebrating the draw.
something like that.
I'm happy for you. But no, it was a good result. You know, not an amazing result. And I think when I saw Mateta scored in the 13th minute against City today, I didn't think City are going to lose. I thought they'd probably come through it. But again, like you say, just reinforcing that we have such good defensive stats. I don't want to jinx the game coming up in an hour's time. But you know, I'm just looking for any weaknesses in City's team, any weaknesses in Liverpool's team, and anything that could potentially, maybe not derail them, but any weaknesses at all to see them concede. And it's just our responsibility to put as much pressure on Liverpool as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm ready for the game today.
Turkish, let's get tactical with this for a sec, because Brighton are a team that want to play. What do? Do you respect that they want to play, hold a good shape, try to nullify their threat, know that they'll concede chances? Or do you go, yeah, that's nice, but we can play too, and we're going to show you how it's done? Because they're no joke, Brighton.
That's kind of what we did last season at the Amex. We got an early goal, we kind of put it on them, and then they creeped back into the game.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
It was a nervy ending. I remember, I think Matoma scored, it was disallowed. You got, like you said, you got to respect Brighton. I think off the back of last season, we probably will go in, you know, trying to pin them back. And when you look at how solid we are defensively, I think, you know, we should be confident enough to do that and do that well. But we have to be wary of Brighton. I think Brighton's a big test, probably bigger than Brighton itself because the moment we're in as well.
Yeah.
You know, we're right smack bang in the middle of City winning against Palace, coming back from behind after Liverpool done it in midweek as well, to Liverpool potentially, you know, away, well, not potentially away to United, potentially dropping points, hopefully.
Do you think that adds to the pressure of this occasion? Like, the thing is, I'm a believer, and one of the reasons I did celebrate the way I did it after City was because I just believe Liverpool will drop points. So for me, staying ahead of City was what was most important. So now watching today, going, if we win, we'll stay ahead of them, and that, for me, keeping them at bay was big. But there aren't many weekends where that hope will be there that Liverpool drop points. And
Yeah.
to be really honest, the way United are playing, I'm not even that hopeful. I think Fulham away and Everton away and Villa away might prove more awkward test for Liverpool. I expect a really open game tomorrow. They could score 4. Genuinely. United might score 2 or 3, but I think Liverpool could score 4. But at the same time, no team, bar Everton, are going to want to beat Liverpool more.
Yeah.
And off the back of what happened in midweek, you're really hoping that United just give a response.
Yeah, I don't think we got Tottenham as well, and
Exactly.
like Everton, they'll want to do the same thing.
Exactly.
But they're fighting for something, which could be an argument, in our favour. Let's say in the games against them. But
sorry, my long-winded question was: does that add more pressure on this? That it's like this might be our chance to regain top. It will be for overnight, but with Liverpool lurking.
Against City, I said I wasn't nervous. I was excited and whatnot. I was. I wasn't lying to myself.
Yeah.
But the more I think about things and the situation we're in, the more I get nervy, because essentially every single game is a must-win. Because looking at City and looking at Liverpool, expecting both of those now to both lose and draw a game potentially, if we were to drop points in any fixture now, is highly unlikely. So, there's a potential damning blow coming for one of these clubs, soon enough, because, we're not all going to win our games. So that makes me nervy, especially against a Brighton side that have caused us problems before at moments where, we're vying for something, we're fighting for something. So I think the pressure's already on, and they should know that. But I think they should also, the majority of them, thrive off it, because last season, they all saw and heard what people were saying about the end of the season. I think they have so far used it in their favour, and they need to now continue to use it in what is now the period where we ended up choking in last year, the last 8 games of the season. So we're back where we was last year. There's enough pressure on this game as it is.
Yeah, totally agree. Laurie, we're going to talk about the 11 now. Before we do, my question is, how much of an eye on Bayern Munich will Arsenal have? And I know we always like to say the one game at a time, but the reality is Arteta can't just pick his best 11 at all times, or whatever he perceives that to be, because maybe he doesn't know. Maybe Jorginho right now is better than Thomas Partey because he's been injured, but if Partey gets up to fitness, then is he better? You've got the situation at left back, Kivior's been in form, you've got Tomiyasu Zinchenko that offer different things. So he's got to get that balance right, knowing Tuesday night's coming. Bayern Munich from 2-0 up against Heidenheim and now back to 2-2. So they're conceding goals. How much is midweek, because as expressions calls, and we've got Brighton Munich tonight. And
I wouldn't start Saka.
You wouldn't? Okay.
You might as well just jump straight into it, because I think that's the question you're going to pose. I think Bayern Munich is an important one.
First of all, that's a very good question. That's a very good question.
Thank you.
But I can only approach that hypothetically. If that was me, I wouldn't even be thinking about Bayern right now. Because in my mind, the Premier League should be our priority. So I think you've got to just go full on, focus on this game. And then obviously if we're in the ascendancy against Brighton, then you can start to think maybe you can bring off this one or that one or whatever, or give this one a rest. But like Turkey said, every game's got so much on it in the league that I don't think you can afford to just focus. You can't split your focus. You have to focus on today, and then when that's done, then you look forward. That's how I would approach it. I think there's a danger sometimes when you think too far ahead. And things are so tight in the Premier League. With ourselves, City and Liverpool, 3 really, really good teams. As Turkey said, there's not going to be many points dropped, so you've got to go full steam ahead. So, yeah, I guess my answer to your question is I wouldn't be thinking too much about Bayern at this stage.
I'm caught in two minds. I don't think you can not think about Bayern. I just think when you've got players like Saka carrying an injury, Ben White has now been revealed, is basically playing through the pain barrier every single game. You have got players returning. There's options now how to use the squad, whether it's Jesus on the right, Jesus up front, do Havertz or Saka get a rest, Martinelli's fit, but Trossard's been informed. There's so many options now for Arteta that I think he'd have to do a lot wrong for him to put out an 11 today that I don't like. I think pretty much whatever he puts out, there'll be a degree of I understand what he's going for.
But we are a different team. I said Saka shouldn't start because that's, in my opinion, when I'm looking at Martinelli and him, I think Martinelli should, because I feel like he's back in that phase now where a start before Bayern would be perfect.
I agree, a couple sub appearances.
Risking Saka might not, but I want one of them to start.
Yeah.
If Saka starts, all right, then keep Martinelli fresh for Bayern. Because Laurie's right in a sense, but listen, you can focus on the game in hand and still fuck up. And then the next game, there's even more pressure on it. So I think we've also got like James said, we've got a squad now. So we've got I'm weary of too many changes because I don't think against Luton we were anything near good in attack, let alone great. So I think we need one of Martinelli and Saka on that pitch to be able to, really get at Brighton.
I'll tell you the slight concern I have, and this is something that I hinted at it the other day, but I've given it more thought since, and I'm, it's like thinking about it more and more. So since the Sheffield United game, where we smoked them 6-0, was it? We have then gone on to play Brentford, Porto, City and Luton. And I would argue, right, the City game was a little bit different because obviously the stakes are very, very high. You're going away to City. We were never going to enjoy majority possession in that game. But I would argue across those 4 games, our performance levels have not been at the heights it was prior to that Sheffield United game. So I'm looking for a performance today because we've not really, Turkish, you hinted at, attack-wise against Luton, we were a bit sketchy. And even against Brentford, we got a late winner. We weren't really, if you think back to that game, what we were saying about that game afterwards, it's more like job done rather than, we were really good. So there's been a few games now where we've not really gelled, you know what I mean?
I totally
I don't want to
agree.
I don't want to be hypercritical, but I do believe that.
Laurie, I'm so with you. At the risk of repeating myself for the 7th time, because we talked about it in the preview, on full time, we talked about it on the watch along. Where I was left a touch unimpressed during the Luton second half was we're not in a good rhythm as a team right now from an attacking perspective. And that's fine. City requires something else. Brentford was about getting over our first pressure test to go back top of the league. Porto, we know, was just a unique occasion that shouldn't be unique for Arsenal, but it has been for the first time in 14 years. So I made all the excuses. But we're not going into this game in great rhythm. We're going into it in great form and with great belief behind our team, but not with great attacking rhythm. So either Brighton are so open that we kind of rediscover that, or Arsenal are really good and they click into gear, or actually it takes a little bit of a while to build into this game. I do think that could be a part of it. So the 11 he goes for, I think he's going to go for what he perceives his strongest 11 to be, if I'm honest today. And the reason is, Bayern might come very soon, but Villa doesn't come that soon after Bayern. It's been moved to the Sunday because of Villa's Europa Conference League efforts. So we've got Tuesday game, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday off, back into the game on Sunday. If it were a Wednesday, Saturday, which we know Jurgen Klopp's complained about plenty of times, and they could do that, then I think it becomes quite... Say we're playing Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, that becomes almost what we've just done. That is what we've just done. That becomes a little bit nasty, but I think that's a nice break. So Arsenal and Arteta could, having rested players for Luton, actually ask the boys to do a 3-game stint. I think they probably could do it.
Yeah, and I think against Brighton, obviously Brighton is not a club the size of Bayern Munich, obviously, but we're coming in against the Bayern Munich, I think, who we have to respect because of their heritage and their history, especially in European competition, but a struggling Bayern Munich team. Whereas we're coming up today against a very confident Brighton team. So where you would normally expect, if football was where it kind of normally is, you'd expect Arsenal to walk through Brighton and then have a really tough day against Bayern. But it's a little bit topsy-turvy, and that's where we're going to have problems trying to work out this starting 11. For me, I would love to see Trossard. I think Trossard and Martinelli starting wide would be the way that I would go. Up top, I'm not sure, because we're going to be playing a lot of football. Do we go with Jesus for link-up play? And then does Havertz start, or does he look to come off the bench? My problem is him coming off the bench doesn't really have that intensity. As he's been decent in moments this season, but is he a level raiser off the bench if we need a goal? Maybe not. Yeah. So I don't know if you start him just because he's not gonna raise that level. I'm not entirely sure. But for me, I think the 2 wide men would be Trossard and Martinelli for me. That's what I would definitely look at.
For what it's worth, Bayern Munich now 3-2 down, a 79th minute goal from Kleindienst. Put Heidenheim 3-2 up. They're 2-0 up, Bayern Munich, and this is not a heavily rotated 11. I know there's rumours of Leroy Sané maybe not being available for the game midweek, Neuer, but they've still got Ulreich in goal, Kimmich, Upamecano, Kim Min-jae and Davis as their back four, Goretzka and Lima, so I should say, in midfield with Müller, Musiala, Gnabry and Harry Kane. That's a
very strong team.
From 2-0 up are now 3-2 down, so we know there's an opportunity there. But okay, so let's build our 11s. I know we did on the preview, but has anyone had a bit of a change of heart in terms of what they want to see from Arsenal's starting 11? Laurie?
I would sum it up by saying I want to see the strongest possible team. As I said, it's incumbent upon us to play our strongest team, prioritise the Premier League. I know the Champions League is a massive game against a really good opponent, even though they're not in their best moment right now. But it's almost like with Bayern, the way I look at Bayern is I'm not too focusing on their game today because the league is gone for them. I think even if they've got a near to full strength side, in their minds they will be thinking Tuesday. It's all or nothing on that Tuesday, isn't it?
That's the one thing.
So-
That's the one thing. It means they kind of concentrate on
Yeah.
that. But we know how the whole bigger fish to fry thing has happened before. So maybe concentrating one thing isn't always a good thing. Just some scores around the grounds very, very quickly to keep you updated on what's going on. Wolves are 1-0 up against West Ham. So they approach the hour mark there. Everton also 1-0 up against Burnley. Villa 2-0 up against Brentford. And Bournemouth are 1-0 up at Luton. Fulham holding Newcastle to a 0-0. We've got a super chat. We'll go back into what we want to see for the rest of the 11. But I thought this was a good one from Deep Tangshu. Says, thoughts on Danny Murphy saying Cole Palmer is an overall better player than Saka? I didn't see that quote, but anyone got any thoughts?
I think you want to take this one.
Nah.
I think different people have different things that they see as what makes someone a better player. Cole Palmer, I think people also have a lot of bias between the best players being in the middle of the pitch because you see them do a lot more diverse play. People worry that what Saka does, or the criticism of what Saka does, is that he does the same thing over and over and over again, which I think is habitual for a lot of wingers, even unbelievable wingers. You know, Robben is considered one of the best wingers. He's cutting on the left. You know, I'm not going to talk about Messi because he's an anomaly. But I think there is something to be said about consistency. Saka has performed at the top level, starting off his career 17 years old, Europa League, and being operated and carrying that team all the way back. I think his CV and record is what makes him a better player. It's very different, you know, what Laurie was saying about the league being done. Saka's operating with a lot of pressure. Cole Palmer is operating with a lot of freedom in those moments, and is very reactionary. That the same conversation around Foden and Saka, I'm much more comfortable having that conversation because Foden's been in the England team and he's been operating at the top level, and we can have that conversation. But Cole Palmer, especially off of one performance, there was none of this conversation 3 weeks ago. The Foden-Saka debate has been going for 2 or 3 seasons. The Cole Palmer one come off of a hat-trick, and a hat-trick is a hat-trick in the Premier League, but 2 penalties as well. I'm not sure that I'm quite... It feels very reactionary to me.
I'm bored of these conversations.
Yeah.
Like pinning one player up against another player and going, well, if they're at their prime, or if they're in the same...
Especially when they play very different positions.
Cole Palmer and Saka are very different players.
Yeah, very different players.
Palmer can take on a player, but he's I see him more as a creative who can also do things out wide. He's a very talented player. Saka's incredibly direct, incredibly durable, incredibly consistent, incredibly skillful, incredibly intelligent. His work rate's off the charts. And like, is this player number 10 they've pitted up against Bukayo Saka? First it was Brandon Williams. That was a disgrace. And then since then it's been whoever you want. Whoever it is they put up against Saka, they've fallen. It's always been Saka. Now Foden's the only one, but even now Foden, like only now is he actually getting to a point where he's playing what people are calling his best football and having a regular part to play in Man City's season. That's maybe credit to how good City are, but like it's constant. The other day they were talking about Mainu at 18 wasn't doing what Saka was doing at 18. I'm thinking this guy played left, and I love Mainu, he's brilliant, but like I'm so bored of these conversations. I don't get the point in them.
You know what it is, right? 2 words: recency bias. As you said, this man scored a hat-trick the other day.
It's not that.
It is that because, like you said, a couple of weeks ago,
It is Arsenal hate.
It's Arsenal hate. It's not.
But why is it always cut? So tell me, I might be wrong, right?
Obstacles always. We talked about it with Arsenal. If we beat City at the Etihad, it would have been, what are you going to do in the last 9 games? We didn't. I'm just saying, it's always an obstacle in front. You know, with players, it's the same thing. That's why I'm just tired of it all. I can't wait till we win a major. It's going to happen sooner or later. You know, if it doesn't happen in 8 weeks, it's going to happen.
And then, you know, it's different criticism would happen. If we do win,
go on, Laurie, go on.
If we win, Danny Murphy can't be
I disagree. I disagree. When we win a major trophy this season or next season or the season after, people will still chat shit. They will still say it's only because we
won't care.
Of course we won't care. Of course, but I don't care now when we haven't even won it. I've got Saka in my team and I'd have him over anybody else. But the reality is, and I've said this so many times, but people love to hate Arsenal. We're a very, very big club. We're one of the biggest clubs in England. And we're the biggest club in London, that's undisputable. Do you know what I mean? And London is the capital city of the country. We are a very, very big club. You know, when we were struggling, not spending money, etc., kind of on the slide in the late Wenger years, no one said anything. When City were winning things, no one ever said it's only because Arsenal are on the slide. When we came second and we were competing with City, they said it's only because Liverpool are on the slide. When Liverpool were back, People were saying last season, Man United will be back this season, Chelsea will be back this season. Now they're saying to us, watch out for Newcastle, they'll be back next season. It's always the same thing. Oh, you can't sustain this. They're always going to say that. And
they saw the youngest team in the world, the youngest team in the Premier League nearly get Champions League football, and people had the audacity to say, well, where do you go from here? It's incredible, with one of the youngest managers who had one of the highest kind of ceilings and reputations in management. I totally agree with you, but is it just me? Like, why is it always the clubs that are underachieving where these players are pitted up again? Conor Bradley's been brilliant for Liverpool. I'm not seeing constant Bradley versus Reece James debates or Bradley versus whoever you want. I'm not seeing that. Rico Lewis has been brilliant for City. I don't get it. It's like Chelsea can't break out of 10th, but we're going to put Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer's been brilliant. Kobe Mainoo's been brilliant. But like, I don't get why these conversations always pop up and they just then take over the timeline. Have we not got bigger things to talk about?
I seen, big up Lippy as well from Filthy Fellas, I seen he quoted something today. The Wilshere performance against Barca was the video that he quoted, but he insinuated Mainoo is better than Wilshere was then, and I completely disagree. Of course. I just want to throw that in there now because it's on the topic of always comparing with us.
We're always the yardstick.
But come on, like, Wilshere done it that season, 50, 60 games, competed with Xavi and Iniesta and that. Yeah. And then people are bringing up Mainoo after 15, 16 games here and an appearance for England against... Who did he play against?
I just feel the need to stick up for Saka. I see him getting all this online, people going now fake injuries, this, fake injuries. It's like, the guy... It's like after City, a lot of people weren't happy with his performance, which I understood. But he worked so bloody hard, clearly injured, clearly wasn't, in a good enough state to be used for Luton. So we thought, let's rest him for that. And I'm just like, the guy's come through our academy, he was with us in the mud, and now he's here challenging for back-to-back titles. And other players who deliver for a couple months, or in a team that aren't doing as well, and it's like, I think he starts over Saka for England. Despite Saka turning up for England at the quarterfinals of the World Cup against France. The only person I think, it was that French publication that always give really harsh ratings. Like even they rated him for that game. Like he was like trying to drag him through. Like he came through in the Euros when United were signing Jadon Sancho and Rashford was there and Phil Foden, and he earned his place in that team. I just feel like there's always something used against Saka, or there's always...
I was going to say, Joe, something's just dawned on me as we're talking about this, and I don't want to talk about anybody's personal life away from football, but with a lot of these players, especially the young players, they've got their football life and their football performances, they've got their personal life, and a lot of the times those things clash. We've seen Rashford at the nightclub and then pulling a sickie, for example. They have some kind of personal controversy somewhere, right? Sancho falling out the manager, whatever it might be. Saka doesn't have that. And I think that because he doesn't have that, he's very likeable, he's very professional. You see Jack Grealish, he's got the image of a party boy and different things like that. Saka just plays his football. You don't hear too much about him outside of the pitch. He's very, very consummate professional for the most part. And I think that there is a real motivation to try to tear him down as much as a person as it is to try and tear him down as a footballer and bring him down to other people's level. I genuinely think that that's what it is. And they don't like seeing that consummate professional footballer. Why that is, you'd have to ask them.
And generally over the years, if we're talking about media here, mainstream media at that, black players get magnified a lot more than white players. So, Saka's got that cloud over him in this league as well. That's a big thing. People don't want to talk about it too much, but it's a big thing. It's the reason why a lot of times a lot of these bums get compared to him, because they want to drag him down because of his background and who he is. So that needs to be mentioned as well.
You can't compare, a bench player to someone who Kobe Mainoo is up and coming. So there's no disrespect that he's a bench player, but he's still working his way into that team. But not even just him. You can't compare someone who plays 15 to 20 appearances a season to someone that has 50 appearances every season and starts for England. They're crazy comparisons.
By the way, I think Mainoo has world-class potential. I think
no one disagrees.
He's an unbelievable talent.
Yeah, he looks very good. He does look very good.
Yeah, but we wouldn't be going, well, we've seen Jack Wilshere do this. And we've seen
Cole Palmer looks superb.
Don't worry, the media will be on Mainoo in a couple. Give it 18 months. They'll build him up
to when he's there, and then once he's there, then it will start hacking him down.
It's not the last dance.
When we played Chelsea at the Bridge, I thought Cole Palmer was superb, and I was looking at this guy going, wow, City really let him go. So it's not that I don't rate these players. It's just that Bukayo Saka's always one of the first to be brought up, and I'm just like, come on, like, should we see if they can do it for 3-4 years, carrying injuries in a team that's actually managed to get up to a level where they're competing with City and Liverpool? People didn't expect us to be going into this game thinking if we win, we go back above City. And actually we go back top of the league. People thought we'd be gone by this point. Yeah. And even still that's why people laughing at me for the whole, celebrating a draw. People thought we were going to get smoked at the Etihad. And we came out with a performance I was proud of. And I agree, man. There's always just like how can we where can we bring Arsenal into this?
100%. People voted, show that you did. People voted Arteta the most annoying or most unlikable manager in the league and different things like that. And he does a lot of stuff that a lot of other people do.
Yeah, it's mad.
Art on the Streets of the Super Chat says, hope Arteta plays the team that will play on Tuesday. That's another thing. Maybe you play that 11 to get some. And we went on a bit of a tangent there, but I think, it was a good Super Chat and it was worth discussing it. Halftime FC said, Arsenal fans need to understand that people say crazy things to get clicks. Isn't it interesting everyone is being compared to Saka? I don't know if it's always that, Like I always think, I'm not saying it's not true, I always think, sometimes there's an element of that.
Yeah.
I think it's also a bit lazy to go, someone's just said something controversial because they want to get clipped up or whatever. No, maybe that's just what they believe, but I'm bored of the comparisons.
I do think there's an element
Saka.
of truth to that. There is possibly a backhanded compliment that every time someone's charring fire, they get compared to Saka.
He's the yardstick,
because
100%.
I must admit, with Cole Palmer, I am very impressed with him. I hope he's on the plane for the Euros. I really do. I mean, even notwithstanding, remember he played for City against us in the Charity Shield, scored a really good goal in that game. So he's been on my radar from time. He's an excellent player, right? But like you said, James, different positions. Why Danny Murphy, of all people, needs to compare him with Saka when they're different positions? I just
probably because of the whole England debate. That's probably why it all came up.
But maybe we should look at it as a positive, that when anyone's like Foden a couple of weeks ago, immediately draws comparisons with Saka. We're happy with Saka. I actually think, and I agree with you, Nick, for whatever reason, I wouldn't like to speculate, he's a very underappreciated player. And you know what, I would go as far as to say, even amongst our own fans, sometimes if he's slightly off, a lot of Arsenal fans will come for him. And even that fake injury stuff, a lot of that emanated from Arsenal fans online. So, I don't know, man.
There's an underappreciation.
Maybe like you say, because he's not out there and he's quite an understated character, people see the need to, if not disrespect him, then underappreciate him.
Imagine he was out there. Going back to what I said, let's be real. Imagine he was out there.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
He can't, man can't win.
You can't. Yeah.
So we're 3 minutes away from the 11 being announced. Abelia says, enjoy the hate, it means we're doing something right. Thank you for your super chat. Black Caesar says, Saka.
Brentford have come back, sorry.
So yeah, Brentford have come from 2-0 down to lead 3-2 at Villa.
You just said that about 5 minutes ago that it was 2-0 up.
No, 5 minutes ago. Yeah, the goals came in the 59th, 61st and 68th. So 9 minutes.
Ivan Toney's got to have at least one.
Unai Emery masterclass.
The goals were
Mbemo,
Visa and Jorgensen.
Oh.
Yeah, and I have a podcast on Fridays to do the predictions, and I actually thought Brentford would get a point at Villa, but from 2-0 down to go 3-2 up. Sorry, Black Caesar said, Saka is the closest thing we have to prime Hazard. The others may be more refined in specific things, but he is just an overall better player. So this is where I'd say, this goes the other way now, where it's Eden Hazard is one of the best players I've ever seen in the Premier League. I loved him. So now we slow it down. Now actually Saka's output is phenomenal, and Hazard was in and out with output, but as a player, oh my word, he was unreal. So that's where, for everything I've said about bringing players to Saka, I think we got away before I know Arsenal fans like to bring Saka to Salah. Come on, Salah's a Premier League legend. And Saka could get there one day, but, it works both ways, people. What else have we got? Have we got any more super chats? Yes, we do. Pete says, he's going for you, Turkish. Peter says, Turkish has always got it wrong. Arteta out, owners out, Trossard out, Mudryk in, dissing Havertz. Turkish out.
I didn't say Trossard out. Mudryk in. You can make shit up, and the owners haven't justified it yet. Was I wrong about Ozil? Was I wrong about Bellerin? Mustafi?
You weren't wrong about Bellerin.
Even Xhaka, people say I was, but 1 season out of 6.
Ib says, question for you all, would a Champions League and Premier League double this season eclipse the invincible achievement? If so, would this be the best Arsenal team in our history? Now that is a great question. I'll try and get the 11 up again. It's all about getting it done, like I was saying with the players, but interesting. Would a Premier League and Champions League double this season eclipse the Invincibles' achievement?
Yes. No nostalgia bias. Yeah. Against Liverpool
So what we're
and
talking
City,
about is
against Liverpool and City that have been record-breaking points tallies, and to come and disrupt that as well.
Yeah.
Can
Fair
I
enough,
say
fair
this
enough.
as someone who didn't
Fair
watch
enough.
Invincibles, so I can't draw on what it felt like back then. On paper, 2 trophies over 1. I think it's one thing. Obviously, the Invincibles achievement can't be our first ever Champions League. But I think you're right. Like beating Pep and Klopp. And we might have to get to a better points tally than the Invincibles did to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think if we do the double, undeniably this would be a greater achievement because I mean we've not won the Champions League. So to win the Champions League and the Premier League, which we've not won for 20 years, in one season, like you said, coming up against those 2 great managers, it's got to be.
Great question, Ibs. It's a great question. And yeah, I mean, this would go down as one of the best Arsenal sides. Surely, if they did the Premier League Champions League double,
Even if you then did a combined 11,
back-to-back Premier League races either, so it's not even like a fluke.
even if you did a combined 11 of this, if that happened, you did a combined 11 of this team and the Invincibles team and put in quite a lot of Invincibles players, I could see that as individual players. But as the game has moved more towards systems, you know,
That's a slightly different argument.
The team achievement would have to eclipse that team achievement, even if you're still going to have Henry over any of our strikers or Vieira over Rice or someone like that.
Can I give Black Caesar's right to reply? He says, James, I meant he was the closest thing compared to other wingers today, not that he is already at Hazard's level. Fair enough, mate, fair enough. I've given you your right to reply. But yeah, I get what you're saying. The 11 still isn't out. We're a minute late. All I've seen is that Saka apparently starts, some journalists are saying. Just waiting to find out. Why are Arsenal so late with it? Someone said Arsenal should sign Paqueta.
Apparently it's out.
Apparently it's out. Have you got it? I can't
No.
see it. Arsenal. What are you doing?
I think I've got it.
Yeah, people saying out on Twitter. What do you think I'm looking for?
I've got it.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Raya in goal. White, Saliba, Gabriel. Zinchenko keeps his place. Rice, Jorginho, Ødegaard, Saka, Jesus, and Havertz is the front 3. Likely Jesus on the left then. Havertz up top. Zinchenko comes in. Confirmation that is a selection decision for Arteta, not a forced one, because Tomiyasu and Kiwior are on the bench, along with Ramsdale, Partey, Smith Rowe, Vieira, Trossard, Martinelli, and Eddie Nketiah. Okay, everyone.
Decent. I think Saka. I wanted Saka or Martinelli. We got one of them, and Jesus. I wanted to see as well. We got him as well. I think that's enough.
It's a very attacking team.
Yeah.
It's a very, very attacking team. Jesus is not a prolific goal scorer, but he can score goals. Havertz is not a prolific goal scorer, but he can score goals. Jorginho and Ødegaard, both shooters. There's a lot of shooters, and the thing with this team, you look at the bench, and it is stacked with talent. It's a very strong bench.
What were we saying about Zinchenko then playing here instead of
That was
Kiwior?
when I was thinking about
that's
my 11.
interesting,
That was the one I really couldn't.
That's a weird one.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That tells me
it's not that weird for me.
That's a we're going to dominate the ball, and we're going back to the kind of Arsenal style of football of front foot, dominate the ball, inverted fullbacks, and Zinchenko.
Do you think he's
leveling
levelling up back to how is
Trying to ramp
this
up.
end of this season going to be what Arteta deployed the start of last season?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
get what I'm
I
saying?
know what you're saying. Yeah. But I do think this is kind of a ramping up of. Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's very attacking.
I have no
Maybe
problem
even
with
looking at goal
anything,
difference.
but Zinchenko surprises me. That
It's
does
a risk
surprise
that I'm
me.
surprised he's taken because he's been so adverse to. He's been trying to find the perfect method to avoid risk. Do you get it? This whole system we've built is to avoid risk.
Yeah.
And putting Zinchenko in there is the biggest risk of Tommy, Kiwior, Zinchenko. So it's bold, but
It's bold, but okay, now let me flip this another way. If every player is at their very, very best, fit and ready, forget Timber because we haven't seen enough of him, is Zinchenko our best left back when he is at his best doing what Zinchenko does?
yeah, but what you're actually asking is because at Zinchenko's best, he's always been prone to errors. What you're asking is if Zinchenko was perfect, and then the answer is yes. But
Yeah.
a perfect Zinchenko.
If you got all the good of Zinni without the bad of Zinni.
But the best Zinchenko we've seen at City and at Arsenal, he can be prone to a defensive moment lapse or two in the game. So
Yeah.
I still think Tomiyasu, if we're asking everyone fit at their best that we've seen, Tommy would be the guy for me.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit unfair on Kivior as well, because Kivior, again, we spoke about Kobe Mainoo versus Saka. Kivior doesn't have enough first team performances to put him up against someone that's won 3 Premier Leagues like Zinchenko, 3 or 4. But Kivior has been really solid for the time that he's come in. And maybe, maybe from a manager's perspective, this is the right time to bring Zinchenko in, because now Kivior's up to scratch. If he is having a bad game, we now know that we don't have to keep him on. We've got options. We've got a Tomiyasu, we've got a Kivior, we've got people that can step in for that. And in times gone by, we haven't really had that answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's using his squad. I don't know if I've ever really gone through a period like this where I just don't know what his 11's going to be.
Yeah,
it really
been
is.
One of my biggest criticisms of him since we've had him as a manager is the lack of squad rotation. That's probably been one of the bigger problems.
Do you know what we said about Havertz? He said we've used him as an 8, we've used him as a 9. He can be used as a 7, which we haven't done yet, but we will. And I was like, no one ever talks as a 7. He means as a winger, right? Yeah. So interesting because I did a whole piece when we signed him on why actually I thought his best football was going to come out on the right and he'd be depth for the way Jack Grealish could play out wide, but not comparing them just stylistically.
Yeah.
Who knows? Because the way it's written out here, it says Havertz. Well, it's not really quite clear who will be starting up front, but it will be Havertz up top with Jesus on the left, but maybe they'll alternate a little bit. Okay, we've got a poll running, 1,000 votes already. Happy with the lineup. I'll put yes, come on you Gunners, a 68% agree. No, would have changed something, was the other option to vote, so get your votes in. Ray says, imagine losing Ødegaard or Saliba, aren't we all of a sudden weak? Now, I read this super chat in my head a minute or so ago, and my answer to it is, yes, if we still had trips to Anfield and the Etihad, you always want your best players. But there's enough quality in the squad for me where if we lose Saliba or Ødegaard, Vieira or Smith Rowe should be able to come in, Tomiyasu should be able to come in and either he goes centre-back or White goes centre-back. And my expectation is still to win the rest of these games this season. Yeah. Now, Saliba and Ødegaard are still easily our best 2 players in those positions, but my expectations for what we do between now and the end of the season wouldn't change. Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, that's different.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the Premier League season, no, I think we can cope with some.
Could even put Rice next to Gabriel and then bring Partey in midfield. Yeah. Like there's a few options.
But if Saliba was injured, then Kivior would go to centre back because that's his
2 left-footed. Sometimes people say.
Yeah, but he is a centre back by trade.
Did well there last year in the run.
Yeah. They partnered
up. I wonder. You just touched on Rice at centre back. I wonder. Because he did play Rice at centre-back in the Champions League dead rubber for about 25 minutes. I wonder if he'd ever use Rice. You know how we always invert from right-back or left-back? I wonder if we'd ever do the City thing and start Rice as centre-back and tell him to move forward. Because then if you've got White, Gabriel Kivior or whatever, it's
a back 3, yeah.
It's a back 3. Yeah. So interesting. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on what Arsenal do tactically. But of course, what we're keeping an eye on now is Arsenal versus Brighton. 10,000 of you watching. Smash the like button. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the super chats and all the comments that have been coming in. As it says, I thought Smith Rowe might have earned a start. I thought he was good, but I never thought he was so good that we had to play him today. Zaguz says, we shouldn't consider Zinchenko a left-back. We mostly have the ball, which means he's mostly playing as a midfielder more than left-back. Yep, totally agree with that. I think Bayern lost in the end, which is crazy. I
thought you said Hoffenheim. Who the hell is Heidenheim?
They nearly promoted.
Yeah.
Mad. But we should beat. I'm sorry, but...
Like they said, the only thing...
Are we favourites now against Bayern or not?
The only thing that they would say is that obviously, our attention is split between 2 trophies, and they throw everything into that game, and they have a hell of a lot more European experience at this stage.
But there'll be a lot of pride for them not to just roll over. Yeah, exactly.
They're the pride of German league, isn't it? They're the pride of the country. Yeah.
The Brighton 11, Verbrugen starts. They've been rotating throughout the season with Verbrugen and Steele, but Verbrugen starts. Now, they do this annoying thing where they don't actually, they put it in order of numbers, not in order of back 4 or anything. So,
I've got it on mine if you...
Take it away.
But you can.
Well, okay.
Take your job as a host.
Let me see it.
Do you know what? Let me see. Let me see if I've got this right. I think it's going to be Lamptey, Dunk, Van Hecke, and Estupiñán as a back 4.
Yeah. That's the easy
then
part.
a midfield of Gross, Baleba, Moder, Enciso, Adingra, and Welbeck up front.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
So Adingra and Enciso kind of the wide men.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Danny Welbeck, by the way, he's done very well against us in recent games. I think he's got 4 goals.
Wow.
He did well for us against United as well, so he likes scoring against an old opposition, an old team, sorry. And I'm hoping Trossard can do the same because obviously he had that kind of falling out with the manager before he left.
Banged one in against Liverpool as well, innit? Nice goal, yeah, outside of the boot.
Baleba did well against Liverpool Anfield, I thought, as well. I thought he was...
Did the Caicedo replacement?
Well, I don't know enough about him, but maybe.
Yeah.
He's 20 years old. I think they signed him this summer. Villa have got one back. Watkins in the 80th. About 10 minutes to go there, so we'll keep an eye on that. That gives Man United a reason to turn up tomorrow, eh?
Watkins against his old club as well.
Very true, as he did when he scored the winner there last time. All right, everyone, we're going to round it off. A reminder of the 11. Raya starts in goal, of course. White Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko is an unchanged back four, am I right? That's the back four that started against Luton.
Yeah.
Rice, Jorginho returns. I did want to see that, so I'm happy about that. With Ødegaard in midfield as well. Of course, Rice got arrested midweek, so the two of them were rested for this game.
Bro, I like he just said
sound a
Rice
lot like
got
arrest.
Did I say? Oh, sorry.
Rice got arrested.
He got
this week, I
arrested
thought.
in midweek, but it sounded like arrested, but yeah.
Rested. He didn't play. And then the police knocked on his door. And a front three of, who did we say? Saka, Havertz and Jesus as well. The same front three that started away at the Etihad. And I will say, worked incredibly hard. No one's championed that more than me, but fluffed a few opportunities. So we need that front three to click. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the stream, everyone. We're going to be back in about 35 minutes or so, 50 minutes before kickoff to react to all the results in the 3 o'clock kickoffs. And of course, look ahead and react to every kick of a ball in Arsenal's game against Brighton at the Amex. That's what it's called, about to say the Etihad. See you all in a bit.